What's up, folks? I'm Chris, your MLB writer here at Occupy Fantasy. Here with a look at tonight's giant 13-game main slate on Friday, July 29th in MLB DFS on FanDuel, DraftKings, and Yahoo. And even though we have 26 different options to choose from, we still like Gerrit Cole of the New York Yankees more than anyone else available to roster at starting pitcher tonight. Gerrit Cole is a minus 375 moneyline favorite against the Royals tonight for the Yankees. That's the second biggest favorite status on the slate, and he has the biggest line movement in his favor. Bettors backing the Yankees pretty heavily in this spot. Gerrit Cole projects for the most strikeouts per inning pitched tonight, just under 1.4 strikeouts per inning. Reasonable batted ball data on this slate as well. Better batted ball data, though, for Alek Manoah, the starting pitcher for the Toronto Blue Jays against the Detroit Tigers. Now, Manoah's 18.3 OF index is normally good enough to be the number one starting pitcher on most slates in our model. He's the biggest favorite at minus 385 on the money line. And if we look at the splits leaderboard over on Fangraphs, as I like to do from time to time, we see that Detroit is the worst performing offense against right-handed pitching in Major League Baseball this season, with a 67 weighted runs created plus on the year, very low 261 weighted on base average, and a reasonably high 24.2% strikeout rate against righties. That's all a major reason why we have Alek Manoah number 2 overall on this slate, just 9,400 over on DraftKings, 10,200 over on FanDuel. Certainly makes sense on FanDuel, but love him as a secondary pitcher on DraftKings behind Cole in nearly almost every format this evening. Now, Shane Bieber also ranks very highly, just $8,900 for the Cleveland Guardians against the Tampa Bay Rays. Just a slight favorite. Projects for slightly more strikeouts than Manoah and a couple of the guys behind him, but would have to consider him a slightly more high risk given that the game is considered to be a virtual coin flip against the Rays for the Guardians this evening. Bieber's StatCast data pretty comparable to Gerrit Cole's in the exit velocity department, a little bit better in the batted ball distance department. Justin Verlander is facing the Seattle Mariners tonight. He's the most expensive pitcher on this slate. Minus 182 on the money line. Projects for under a strikeout per inning. Never a bad idea to consider rostering Justin Verlander. We certainly like him tonight at a 16.4 OF index. Anything above 15 is strong for us. But from a salary perspective, if we're prioritizing Cole tonight, I can see our lineup builder especially being a little lighter on the Justin Verlander side of things. If you're the MME type of player, you may find getting Justin Verlander using our tools to be a little more difficult than maybe with some other providers this evening. Now, I do like Blake Snell, the left-handed starter for the Padres with his strikeout upside, and our model has him for the third highest, strikeouts per inning pitched tonight, 1.26 strikeouts per inning against the Minnesota Twins. Batted ball distance allowed for Snell, very concerning, one of the higher amounts on this slate. Brandon Woodruff of the Milwaukee Brewers with just a 14.4 OF index with the highest strikeout per inning pitch projection in our model, 1.37. Woodruff's strikeout projection in our model actually slightly higher than Gerrit Cole. So Gerrit Cole's second most strikeouts per inning is what we have projected for those of you who are into such academic distinctions. Woodruff with the best batted ball exit velocity against out of any of these top options I've discussed thus far. Batted ball distance slightly more concerning, however, against the Red Sox this evening. Offenses that we like to play. We often start by looking at who ranks the worst in the Occupy model for starting pitcher as a place to start. Tonight, Brian Garcia of the Tigers against the Blue Jays seems to be an arm that we'd be targeting. Chad Kuhl of the Rockies against the Dodgers at Coors Field is almost certainly someone we're targeting. Chris Bubic of the Royals against the Yankees. Madison Bumgarner of the Diamondbacks against the Braves. These are all starting pitchers I think our model will want to key on. Looking at some of the StatCast data for other options, with the 9th hardest batted ball exit velocity against out of all starting pitchers in Major League Baseball over the last 2 weeks, with the 5th furthest batted ball distance allowed out of all starting pitchers in Major League Baseball over the last 2 weeks, Bailey Falter of the Philadelphia Phillies is someone I think that we want to consider in large field high-risk contests as a target with a stack. It means we have to play the Pittsburgh Pirates, who are almost certainly a modestly ranked stack with just a 3.75 run implied team total this evening, but you gotta like the fact that Falter has faltered quite frequently against opposing lineups this year. Now, looking at our stacks dashboard, no surprise with the major weather adjustment. Both sides of the Coors Field game, the Dodgers and the Rockies rank extremely high in our model. The Dodgers would be the better play than the Rockies once again. Don't know if the Dodgers will give us 13 runs tonight like they did last night. This is the formula that we like to play Coors Field chalk under. A high OF index, Slate high weighted on base average ranking, reasonably high projected isolated slugging, and obviously almost 8 runs on the implied team total department. Almost the same exact spot for the Dodgers tonight. Chad Kuhl of the Rockies, their starting pitcher, pretty weak against left-handed hitters. Very left-handed hitter heavy lineup is anticipated for the Dodgers once again tonight. Freddie Freeman, Cody Bellinger, Gavin Lux, Jake Lamb, Max Muncy would be the lefties to consider. Every single Dodger hitter has a very acceptable ranking in our model. We'll play anything above a 4 almost any given night in the stack. Everybody 5.6 or higher by OF index. Everybody with an elite weighted on base average projection except for Jake Lamb. The Dodgers are in an immaculate spot, but they're going to be rostered accordingly. So that's really the only dynamic to take into consideration when building your lineups this evening. Now, with the Colorado Rockies, the weighted on base average is closer to the middle of the pack on this slate. The implied team total is closer to the middle pack on this slate against Julio Urias of the Dodgers, a left-handed pitcher. I would actually leave the Rockies in high risk only and consider leaving them out entirely this evening, frankly. The Atlanta Braves, best non-Coors Field stack in our model this evening, facing off against left-handed Madison Bumgarner. In fact, 6 of the 9 Braves hitters, Ronald Acuna, Dansby Swanson, Austin Riley, Travis d'Arnaud, and William Contreras, all project for an elite weighted on base average against lefties this evening. That's their historical performance against lefties like Bumgarner, so they should have a very strong chance to succeed tonight. Now we're on DraftKings. I have Garrett Cole. I have 5 high upside Dodgers bats. Plenty of salary remaining, $47.50 per player. Could easily finish out this lineup, especially playing Manoah. Leaves you $3,200 per player remaining for a secondary stack. That's plenty, even though it's a little tighter than we normally go for. Over on FanDuel, same idea. Cole, 4 high upside. Dodgers bats, $2,300 per player remaining. This is doable. It's going to be highly owned, but I do think it is well worth the price of admission. That's how I'm going to be attacking the slate tonight. Keep an eye out for the daily plug at Occupy Fantasy. That'll be posted by about 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That will be where we have our final rankings for this slate for you. If you want to talk about MLB DFS up until then, you can consider joining our Discord. There's a link to do so below the description of every video that we post on this channel. Good luck tonight, and we'll talk to you soon for more MLB DFS.